Hi everyone, my name is Ramis and today I want to talk about phonics. So I have a 4-year-old in reception and I wanted to talk a little bit about phonics and our journey and our experience. Hopefully this video would have an impact on one parent, at least for me. But before we start, I would like to talk about lockdown because everything started from lockdown. So we all know how lockdown has had an impact on everyone, not just children or adults. Everyone has had impact on everyone. So but I'm talking about children going to nursery. So after the lockdown, children started mingling. So I'll start with the park. So my son was I think 2 years old when lockdown came, or 1 year. So 2 years in, or 18 months in lockdown. So when the lockdown was lifted and people were able to see people and we could go to the park or maybe take a train or bus, one thing I realized was that the moment he sees another child, another little person like him, like he's surprised to see a little person like him, and he would stare. And it's not just one way, it was the other way as well. The other children were just like staring competition, like, and clinging closer to their parents. When they're going on a slide and one person goes and then the next person tries to come, the other one will cry. Like there was a whole lot of palaver. And as parents, we know what's happening, so we were very supportive. Every parent who were in the park were all supportive of our children, ourselves as well. We were all saying it's the lockdown that has have an impact on them, because we can tell from before the lockdown how they were behaving, and now that the lockdown has before lockdown how they were behaving in the park, and after the aftermath of coming out of lockdown. So we keep saying to them, we're reassuring them, making sure that they are not scared of each other, they can be friends. But that took a long time before understanding. And then shortly they had to go to, September came and they had to go to school. Another challenge. Yeah. So yeah, and then they had to go to school. But I want to say one more thing. I remember one time we were going somewhere, so we had to use the bus, and we were at the bus station. We were there before the next family came. The next family came with a buggy, and they was nearly the same age as my son, so it was around 2.5. Yeah, 2.5, nearly 3 years old. A child came in. Came to the bus stop, and then as soon as he saw my son, he started calling his mom and saying, "Mommy," and my son came clinging onto me and pointing to, like, they were scared of each other and scared of like all of us. So he was scared of all of us, and the same applies to my son as well. And I had to reassure him. And September came, 3 years, woohoo, we have to go to school. In school was the same thing. All the children were crying, settling in. It took longer with my children before my son, my 3 older children. Settling in is like, just like they are ready to go to school. Everyone is ready to go to school. There was no lockdown, nothing. So time, I don't do all the 4 days, settling in period thing. I don't do it. It's first day you do the settling in. That is recommended. You have to do it, and then after that, that's it. The next day, I think your child is ready for school, so you don't have to come and do the settling in. So my son's 10, and it wasn't just him. It was the whole group of children. Settling in took longer than expected. We knew it wasn't going to be 4 days or 1 week, but we didn't know it was going to take like a whole term and a half. Yes, with my son. But I didn't have to go in every day and wait and see if they would call me whether he's crying. No, he would cry in the morning when you're dropping him, and then we were told as soon as you drop him, he's settled and he's doing his thing. But it's like, because there's structure and there's routine in the school, in the class. So once you're used to playing and then it's time for maybe carpet time, they didn't understand that why am I playing? Why are you stopping me from playing? Why are you telling me to sit on the carpet? Then it becomes another ball game. They start crying and yeah. So, and I don't know, I felt like I felt like he didn't enjoy nursery. He didn't, to be honest, he didn't. And I can tell that he wasn't feeling well as well. Sometimes he goes to school Monday, going to school really well. He comes back home and then in the evening he's got temperature, and then that would last till the whole week, and then he has to start again. So he wasn't like in school. Her attendance was very low as well, and that could contribute to lockdown. It could, or also it could contribute to everyone is in one class now, so their immune system, they are trying to fight themselves. So viral infection is happening here, and I was told my son wasn't the only person who wasn't feeling well. Others were not feeling well as well. So this took a long time. In my son's school, it's more child-led instead of adult-led. So settling in, like I said, took longer, and because of lockdown, they were allowing them to do more of child-led learning instead of adult-led, sorry. And so it took them 2 terms to settle every child, like all the children. And then the 3rd term, which is the summer term, that's when they started doing phonics, and that's the reason why I'm here today to talk to you about phonics. So they started phonics in summer term. So by summer term, they know each other, they know their names, they know the routine in the school. So then that's when they started. But they've been singing the nursery rhymes and everything. So and they have the letters, like, you know, when you go to classrooms, they have all the material that children need to learn with. So it was okay for them to start in September, in summer term, when everybody has settled in. So summer came and they started the phonics. So here I am trying to support my child in phonics. So what I used to do, what we were doing was I was focusing on the sounds and letter formation in the beginning. So I was focusing on that a lot, because he's after one term you're going to reception, and you know, every year gets harder and harder. So if you don't get it in the initial stage, then you're going to fall behind a lot, because it's going to get harder and harder. I mean, if you don't get it, if you don't understand all the basics, then it's just like building a house, isn't it? If you don't build the foundation well, everything will come crumbling down later. So I was focusing on the sounds, because sound is very important, and letter formation, because you need to write. So we were doing that during summer term, and then at summertime as well, when school was on holidays, I was just revising what they've already done. I didn't want to push forward. If you cramping everything might crash, so I was just repeating what he's already done, making sure that he hasn't missed like this 6 weeks of being in the house or being on holidays. It's not wasted, like starting all over again in September for reception. So that's what we did. And yeah, when they came to reception, they had to continue from where they left off. And no, actually I think they started all over again, because they had to start, children have gone for break, so obviously they had to start from the beginning again. Work, double job. So they started from the beginning, and then they finished that. So now they focus on sounds and letter formation, and now the children are good. My son is good with the sounds and his letter formation. So the next thing was to start decoding words. So they were doing the CVC words, which is consonant, vowel, consonants, and I wanted my son to get it. You know, every day we spend, and these are children, they've gone to school, they've come, they're already tired. So I spend between 15 to 20 minutes every single day with my son, making sure that we're doing his homework and learning this, the CVC words. I'm trying to decode it at the same time. So we do, so for example, we would do cat, what's it, cat, and then, you know, we were doing that. And one thing that I should have done with him was, whilst we were decoding, we should have been writing it as well. I was focusing on decoding, and guys, my son can decode words and can spell and can read, but handwriting formation, guys, because I was focusing more on the CVC words and how to decode the words, he was able to read. He's able to read and able to spell. But one thing I wasn't doing was writing. So before he started school, we used to do a lot of scribbles, like coloring, and so his handwriting, he had like pen gripping. When it comes to writing, writing like letters, I realized that his pencil gripping was very weak. And I was told, because he's focusing more, because scribbling, you know, you're scribbling, this time around you're writing, so it's taking you, like, you need to think about what you're doing, process it and write it. So that's the difference between scribbling and trying to write. So we used to focus on that, and when I realized that, oh wow, he's got it, I stopped that and focus on decoding. And guys, now handwriting formation and pen gripping has gone down. Yes, it's gone down. And I was thinking, oh, he goes to school, he does it. But one thing that we forget is that phonics is 15 minutes for children, reception or year one, reception or nursery, because they are children. Their attention rate is very limited. So you need to get them whilst you can. And 15 minutes, after 15-20 minutes, these children can't take it any longer. They can't be still for too long. So you have to move on. You have to do something else. If you try to push them or try to give them more work to do, work done will be zero. They won't be able to give you a good quality work. And you can imagine a teacher teaching 30 children in class for 15 minutes. This is spelling, reading and then writing at the same time. Of course, there's not enough time. Even Monday to Friday, it's not enough for them. No wonder they've gone for strikes. They've been going for strikes these days, because it's a lot. Teaching is a lot. You have to do the planning, you have to deliver, you have to make sure children are, you know, it's a lot. It's a lot of work. And they feel they've not been appreciated well, so they need some more support to balance their work, their hard work. They are very hard working. I'm not blaming my child's teacher for how my child is writing, because I feel 50% at home, 50% at school. Together we get 100%. Yeah, so guys, this is where I am with my phonics. My child's handwriting is gone down, but the reading is gone up, spelling is gone up, because that's where I was consistent the whole time, and I was focusing on forgetting handwriting formation. So guys, this is where I am at the moment. I am I have decided that we would take time. We wouldn't stop reading and spelling and doing our. We would still keep on doing our phonics. But what I'm going to do is we do the phonics. Then I will say spell this. After you finish spelling, write it down for me. And then if you're making a mistake with maybe A, for example, he's not writing A properly, I'll say, come on, remember how to write A. My turn, your turn. I can do first. Leadership by example, they say. So I can write first for him to look, and then he can also do it. So I'll do round the apple, down the leaf, and then I'll ask him to do it as well. So if you're spelling something like cat, I ask how many sounds he knows the sounds. You say 3 sounds. How do you know it's 3 sounds? Because mommy is k, t, cat. And I'll say then write it down then, and then he will write it down. So if I feel like this letter didn't go well, then we have to practice that. That's what I'm doing with him, because I can tell that some of the letters are good, some of the letters are no. Very soon we're going to year 1. We can't do this. We can't be doing this in year 1. You need to get it right. So that's what I'm doing with my son at the moment. Parents, I know being parents is hard. It's the most hardest job ever, because looking after one is not easy, let alone looking after 5. Each and every child is different. They have different emotional needs, different social needs. You know it, parents, you know it. And as parents as well, you're doing lots, you're working, you're juggling between this and that, lots of things. And then when you come home, you have to look after home as well. By the time you finish, you're tired. You wouldn't even have enough time to say, okay, let me read to my son before, or my child before going to bed, or let me see the homework. Like sometimes you forget to even look at the homework because you're thinking about tomorrow, what you're going to do. It's never ending. It's never ever ending. But what I'm trying to say is, please, let's make a conscious decision to take 15 minutes out of our time a day. And guys, consistency is the key. Once you're consistent, you would see the progress. You would see it. And children are very adaptive. Like they adapt really quickly. You would see the progress. Sometimes in the beginning, it can be a struggle. Tell me about it. I have been there. It was a struggle. It wasn't like, okay, come and sit down. Okay, let's do it. No way. No way. It was a struggle. It's been a struggle. You bribe, you be strict a bit, you take their stuff from them, you know. But you have to find a way. Every parent know their child, so you know what they like. So sometimes you have to use that to just draw their attention, because especially when you're 3 and 4, it's really tricky. It's a very tricky time to